I want to ask you guys, tell me a little bit about the fashion in the film. I know there's a small color story. If you were paying attention, you caught that. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we were really inspired by a color story, which we started working with Wilfred Lenoff, who's a really well-known stylist, who's out there styling BB Rexa and Mariah Carey. And so Bayou and I were really deliberate about this film. We're like, we want every image in this film to have some kind of color symbolism. So we're like, we really want the movie to start in red because that's symbolic of danger. And then as the story evolves, it goes to like a deeper orange. And then on the beach, it becomes coral. So it's sort of like a unity that she has with the starfish.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Because it's like, I mean, you can kind of see it from the angle that you guys are filming. You see the starfish and you see her dress, and you're kind of like, okay, was it on purpose or was it just an accident? But you kind of see that color flow.
Good.
Yeah, this is one film that we made. I don't think we've ever been so deliberate about our filmmaking. You know, we literally, every image that you see in this film was some sort of like a presentation where we're just like image by image, what's every element gonna look and feel like? And so we had the whole story mapped out from Los Angeles through Ghana, page by page. And there was no real script, so it was a different way for us to work. There was no script for this film. We had basically like a visual story that we wanted to tell. So in terms of the color story, what does color mean in the film? It's the journey from red to orange to coral to lavender, which symbolizes awakening, and then finally ending in green. So
and then the little girl in the outfit was actually traditional like garb, and so we wanted to represent the culture correctly in each of the countries. And so, but red again was at the beginning like danger. Like if we don't stop using all these plastic bottles, we're gonna create, So that was, and then also there was symbolism with the. So at the beginning, she has a star. Where did she wear the star?
Yeah, the star's on her shirt.
Yeah, so it's like she's the star, and then being an influencer, and then but then when she finds the starfish, then there's like that connection with the starfish, and so there's different little symbolic things that we
Okay, I didn't catch that one. Wow. Okay. So then our next question, I want to talk a little bit. So I've kind of introduced my audience to the idea of, thrifting, sustainability, the cost of production, the cost of manufacturing, how much denim consumes water, how much landfill space is taken up by clothing. It's all a really big issue. It's like there's not just one single issue, there's a lot of issues. But I think you guys kind of bring that issue into space when you develop your wardrobe, right? Tell me a little bit about the fabric choices, the outfits, and just kind of what you wanted to tell, in that story as far as like our consumption of fashion.
That is so, I love that. It makes me so happy to talk about this because one of our concepts was like what lies behind the fast fashion rack. When you go to, like Wilfred is so funny. He's like, you guys, I feel so terrible. Like our stylist, when he was making this film, he's like, I just think about all the things that I'm putting on all these people and all these models, and they're just so not sustainable. So we wanted to see, well, what happens when you part that fast fashion rack? What people, what families, what cultures are behind that fast fashion rack? And so I think you said it like, there's so many ways on a daily basis that we can make a change through, wearing secondhand or, buying like local designers or using sustainable fabrics. Like, the last piece was hand knit, over 3 or 4 days. And so it's really just about becoming more aware of your impact. Like this is something that I can do that I feel good about where I can make a change. So the story is really a story of fabric too. At the beginning, it's like vinyls and plastic kind of, outfits become softer and softer and more knitted as opposed to like mass produced.
And the designer.
Yes. The designer, Michelle Hebert, she did a custom piece. The scene where she's walking towards the destroyed kind of planet Earth, right? So that was a custom piece made for the film out of just completely sustainable fabrics, very carefully chosen.
I see that scene of her walking towards Earth and like kind of connecting with her child is like, what Earth am I leaving my child?
That's right.
That's what we were trying to say.
That's it.
Yeah. That's what we really wanted to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay. I was like, did I miss that? I think, and also her seeing, you know, elder women, younger women in different cultures is kind of like, as women, in the connectivity of being women, you continue to see yourself over and over and over again. And I think she saw herself, you know, in different versions. Yeah,
That's right.
so it was pretty interesting. It was a good film. You guys did good. So then my next question, also, I want to ask a little bit about, you know, we talked a little about you being in performance art and you guys meeting in a cafe, which is like, I mean, I don't, you know, the truth is we have the concept for the magazine before we had the interview with him. So don't know how that aligned, but I thank God for it all the time because it works out. But tell me a little bit how that piece played a part of you guys' filmmaking.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing. I think that fashion and film and art, they have a beautiful marriage, you know? And there's, you know, like some of our favorite films like The Fifth Element or Lucy, they have this beautiful film and fashion and art kind of element to it. So we wanted to explore that, right, buddy?
Yeah, and then, well, in New York, I was a performance artist, so I would dance, and then I would have projections and edit films together, and I got my master's of fine arts, and during that, I was doing the same thing. And so I made a career out of it, and then I was like, okay, well, I want to go even further and reach the billions on the planet with messages. And so that's how you can kind of see the abstract kind of, you know, messages in it. But
what I think is really interesting is that Bayou loved this female...
Maya Deren.
Maya Deren.
She was a performance artist, and she would sometimes be in the films, and then she would co-direct with her, sometimes her boyfriend or something, you know, and like that manifested into what it is now. But I think that the abstractness is like, for me, it's I wanted to hit the highest aesthetics again, because our film before was the highest aesthetics. My point of that film was that no matter whatever anybody was going through in their life, they would just be there in present time, experience the film, and it would uplift them, and that's what I wanted. And also women empowerment. This film, same thing, but then I wanted it to be kind of like, okay, we're more than just, you know, bodies. We have our spiritual self. We connect with the animals. We connect with other cultures, and then we're all connected, and the planet, all of that. So I wanted to bring that message in there. So I do still want to ask you guys if you got that.
Yes. Okay, so we can actually open it up. Are you guys good with?
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing. I think like our whole concept is like, what impact do you or I or Bayou have on the planet, all of us, and what impact does the planet have on us? Because there's like an interaction that we have with this earth, you know, with the earth itself, all the people on the planet. So I think that's what we wanted to say, and just tell a story of someone who does not care about anything but themselves and then comes to care about a wider sphere of life. That was, you know, what we wanted to do as filmmakers. And
I think you guys did it.
Okay, cool.
I'm like, no, I think you guys did it. And I think, you know, there's a whole thing where it's like sometimes people are trying so hard to create names that are so creative so that you kind of, like, what's this about? And I think, like, when you think about the film being connection, that is what it's about. And it's connection in all forms.
That's right.
So it's just like, how do you interact with people when you're walking down the street, whether or not you throw trash out the window. You know, there's small impacts that we all can make that can make a bigger connection, right? And it's not that like, oh, well, I can't save the planet, so I shouldn't do anything. It's like, yeah, but what can you do?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's right.
That's
I told you
true.
she's a smart woman. Very smart.
Thank you.